Good morning, everyone. Happy June 1st. How did that happen?
Yeah, time flies, you know.
Time flies when you're having fun.
When it's warm out. It's like,
Yeah.
You know, time
Too
flies.
hot.
I like it. I like it.
You like it?
Yeah, give me the heat.
Gosh, it was hot yesterday.
We couldn't get to 40 degrees forever.
Yes,
Give me
you're
the-
right.
give
You're
me
right.
the
It
heat.
was the 15th coldest April, and now it's been, well, it was as through the 30th. I haven't checked this morning what yesterday's date did to it, but it was the second warmest May ever on record in Fargo. So it's been warm.
Yeah.
It's been from cold to warm.
All right, we'll get your full forecast here in a second. I got to do my whole spiel first. Otherwise, I forget at the very end. So,
Yeah, I suppose.
if you're listening to this as a podcast, you're listening to Lisa, Scott, and Dylan. And we're live on Facebook every weekday morning. Of course, you can watch it later on your Facebook feed. We're also on our Inforum YouTube channel. And like I said right away, we make it into a podcast. Just go to inforum.com/podcast and look for the Inforum Minute.
That's us.
All right, Dylan, another warm day with a chance of some storms later in the day?
Yep, pretty much the same forecast it's been all week. Another warm day, temperatures upper 80s, low 90s. Chance of isolated thunderstorms later on today. Yesterday, I was in Fargo doing errands later in the afternoon, and those thunderstorms fired off in the afternoon, evening, and I didn't get wet the entire time I was out. I just dodged them throughout the time, throughout Fargo Moorhead, all throughout the day. So that was nice. But that's
Good
how they are.
talent.
Yeah, they're kind of, they're very spotty, and you might just completely miss them. It just depends on where you are, and that's how they'll be again today. Not expecting as many of them as there were yesterday, so a little bit less widespread. And the same forecast for Friday. Partly cloudy skies, chance of thunderstorms, high temperatures in the low 90s. So warm all the way through the weekend into next week. We don't have any 70s even close to this 10-day forecast, just 80s and 90s all the way through next week. So
Warm.
sizzling, low temperatures at night in the 60s. It's summer.
good.
This is more end of June or
Yeah.
end of July than it is end of May, early June. But
Yeah, absolutely. Feels
I
like
guess everyone complained it was cold, so now it's not
it.
cold.
Watch what you ask for.
Watch what you ask for,
Now,
exactly.
Dylan, I'm going to put you on the spot. You might not know the answer to this, but a while back you did the lakes forecast about the temperatures. So when the temperatures are this warm, is it going to warm those lakes up
Oh, yeah.
pretty quickly?
Yep,
Or, what are
actually,
we looking like
yeah.
for that? Because
So
on Memorial Day, I didn't really want to go in the lake because it's still cold. But,
Yeah, temperatures in the lakes have warmed up about 4-ish degrees across the area. Depends on which lake you're looking at. But I actually just updated that graphic this morning. So, yeah, they have warmed up. So now Detroit Lakes is about 64, 65 degrees, which is getting pretty warm, which is, usually it takes them a while to get to that just because we usually don't warm up this quickly.
Yeah.
But overnight lows in the 60s, they don't really cool off much. Because of they're just not chilly nights. And then, of course, in the afternoons with the sunshine and temperatures in the 90s, that warms up the lakes in a hurry.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. And the wind helped last weekend too, because it helped mix up the water.
Oh,
And
okay.
helps get a little bit more of an even warmth, I guess. That's kind of the word I'm looking for. So, yeah, lakes temperatures are really rising. That's for sure. It's crazy to
Good
think a
news.
month ago we had a lot of ice on lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
True.
know. That's what I was thinking.
It's been a quick turnaround.
Really
so.
has.
Yep.
All right, anything
That's all I
else?
got.
No?
I don't think
Okay.
That's
so.
all you got.
Sounds good. Thanks, Dylan.
Yep.
All right, of course, before we dive into all of the news, today is a special day at WDAY. Might have noticed our logo looks a little bit different. It kind of says it all. 70 years we've been on the air for TV, so it's exciting.
Yeah. June 1st, 1953. Of course, WDAY was already an established and trusted brand on the radio, but then we went on TV. It was a little bit different, as you can imagine, compared to today.
Yeah.
It would start at 6:45 at night, included what we'd call TV classics, like I Love Lucy, was on at 7:30, the Jack and Benny show, or Jack Benny show. Now, we do 2 hours of news in the morning, every morning. Well, at that point, they were doing 15 minutes
Yeah.
of news and weather. It'd be like a blink of an eye for us.
Things change.
Tonight on WDAY News at 6, Kevin Wallivan's doing a special piece looking at the 7 decades that WDAY has been on the air. And we talked about this. It's just, I am just so happy, blessed,
Yeah.
proud to be part of WDAY and the legacy. 70 years, locally owned. It's just, it's amazing. So we're going to have some fun, do some, I
Yeah.
call it like Throwback Thursday, seeing
Yeah.
the pictures from way back then. It's fun. I also like seeing like the women's hairstyles, how they change.
Everything
throughout
changes.
the years as well.
Yeah,
So.
it's just kind of crazy. I've been here like a little over 6 months or so it's cool to see all of the past people that have been in these roles and how much history is here in the Fargo area with the station and all that kind of thing. So really cool. And Kevin has been here for 40 years.
40
so
years.
A long time as well.
It's incredible. yeah, like one of the best storytellers of all time. So he's going to have to stay for another 40 years.
That's for sure. All right, that's going to be cool. Besides that, today is the last day of school for many of the students in the region that aren't already out. That includes Fargo, also Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, and Crookston, all having their last days today as well. All those schools are dismissing at their regular time. So an exciting time for all those students getting on summer vacation.
This was a big story on First News this morning. We're tracking updates for you as cleanup is underway after more than 24 train cars went off the tracks in northern Minnesota. It happened near Lancaster, which is about 10 miles south of the Minnesota-Canadian border. 27 Canadian Pacific train cars went off the tracks. Huge mess. Some of the cars were carrying hazardous material, but at this point we're being told none of the cars or tanks are leaking anything. But of course a huge cleanup mess, 27 cars. And this is along Highway 59 up in that area, and a section of that highway is closed while they're doing that cleanup as well.
Yep. Today, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is expected to sign the state's largest ever infrastructure bill into law. The package is part of a $1.5 billion bonding bill, the first bipartisan bonding bill to pass since 2020, and a $1.1 billion cash bill. Together, the two bills will supply money for upgrades to college buildings, roads, and bridges, as well as an overhaul of a veterans home, and they'll fund economic developments for people of color in the Twin Cities. MSU Moorhead is getting a slice of that pie as far as the funding goes. Part of the money will go toward renovating Weld Hall, which is the oldest building on campus. The university hopes that the renovations will be done by spring of 2026.
Hourly school workers can now file for unemployment benefits in Minnesota. People being laid off on a permanent basis can apply for benefits at the end of the year. That became law earlier this month, making Minnesota the first state to do so. Union speakers at the University of Minnesota earlier this week were talking about the bill's impact, saying it creates a safety net for those unable to find work over the summer.
Fargo City Commissioners are throwing their support behind a new trio of roundabouts just north of the city. It might come with it groan from some motorists that don't like roundabouts. We talked
They're
about
not very
that this morning.
popular, yeah.
But regardless, it sounds like there could be 3 more coming to the city. It's part of a remodel of exit 69 off of I-29. North Dakota's DOT says there will be an increase in traffic in the coming years thanks to the upgrades coming to Hector International Airport. So this whole thing is going to be called a dumbbell interchange. It's a roundabout on each side. So if you can picture a dumbbell, that's what it looks like. The city would like to see exit ramps widened on both sides of I-29. There'll be 2 westbound lanes and 1 eastbound lane. It's off of 40th Avenue North and County Road 20. The city hopes that the redesign will not only help traffic flow, but limit the number of areas where there's conflict points for drivers. And then a 3rd roundabout is planned to go just down the street at the intersection of County Road 20 and Old US Highway 81 North. The cost of this whole project is estimated at about $28 million.
Heads up, if you live in Jamestown, they're going to be spraying for mosquitoes tonight. It's going to start around 9 o'clock. They are asking for people to keep their children and their pets off the streets while the foggers are going through. Of course, that is weather permitting as well.
We'll see what happens with all those pop-up thunderstorms.
Yes.
All right, big headline breaking overnight, actually. The bill to raise the U.S. debt ceiling passed the U.S. House late last night, and now it's moving on to the Senate. The leaders for each party in that chamber say they will take it up likely still today or tomorrow. Monday is now considered the hard deadline by the U.S. Treasury to raise the debt ceiling. This bill would suspend the nation's debt limit until New Year's Day 2025, so that would be pushing it into the next election. Past the next election, so it would be the next president's issue to deal with, essentially. In addition to addressing the debt limit, the bill also caps non-defense spending, cuts back on some COVID-19 relief funds, and expands work requirements for some food stamp recipients. Now, those were all things that Republicans did want, and it also keeps the president's infrastructure plan and renewable energy policies in place, which is what he wanted. So, something for both sides, I guess.
All right, ready for some basketball? The NBA Finals get underway tonight. The Miami Heat will take on the Denver Nuggets for Game 1. The game's going to be played in Denver. Tip-off is at 7:30, and you can watch it on WDAY.
Going to be exciting. Also, Hot Mic with Dom Izzo. You can watch it today from 9 to 11 in the morning on WDAY Extra. You can also stream it on Inform.com. It is the busiest day of the North Dakota High School sports calendar. 6 state tournaments begin today from Fargo to Minot. We're going to preview all of those. That's all ahead on Hot Mic. Also, it is decision day for the Vikings on one of their most popular players. So a good little tease there. You'll have to tune in to find out who we're talking about.
And of course, our next newscast here on WDAY is at 11 this morning, and then again this afternoon, 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10 tonight. And we'll be back tomorrow morning for more First News on a Friday morning, finally Friday, from 5 to 7.
All right, folks, enjoy your day. Use sunscreen if you're going to be outside, okay? Bye.